Well, ladies and gents, this looks fairly dangerous. It's time for another quick project build. Thank you. Useless pricks. Oh, hi. Welcome to AEL. I've got a package under my arm which I've been waiting for the last 3 weeks so I could even start this project. So let's get it in there, open it up, and we'll discuss what I'm actually doing. Bastard. So the reason I'm kind of annoyed of how long this took to get here, it only came from New South Wales. This was delivered by Aramex, and they don't really have the best reputation in this country. Actually, quite a few countries around the world they don't have a very good reputation, but anyway. This sat in Melbourne for a week and a half before it even moved for distribution to Hobart. And then it took another further 5 days to get here. So, what the f***? Anyway, I've got it now, so I'm pleased about that. So I'm just going to open this very badly packed packaging here. Well, at least it's bubble wrapped on the inside, I must admit. It's a box. If I can get the packaging open. Actually, it looks better than I thought it did. I got this on eBay. Cost me 49 bucks, and it is a bit damaged on this plastic work here. That's kind of a shame. Anyway, get the bubble wrap off. This is actually what's known as a junction box, but I'm going to use it for a power supply box. So I'm going to take the screws out of it, because they've got to come out anyway. And we'll get a good look at its construction. Nice M3 machine screws. And scratch the shit out of it. Why not? So there's the screws removed. This should just pop off. Like that. So it's just a 2U shaped design. It's not really all that exciting. And so that's the inside. That's where the feet connect. There's just little things that they push through from the other side, and then they screw a screw into it, and it expands as the screw goes in. This plastic bezel comes off separate to the front panel, and I believe that this panel, the front panel itself, actually comes off of the case directly. So if I turn it over, yes, I remove these two screws with the right screwdriver, that whole panel will come off, which will make it a lot easier for drilling. I thought I would have to, like bend it over the table on a bit of wood to drill the thing for the front panel hardware, but apparently this actually comes apart. Like literally, just fell apart. That's alright, and I can take the bezel off as well separately. So that can be, out of the way as well for measuring, which is nice. Actually, I might take this thing right apart. So this is actually tearing down a box, which is alright. Someone may find this interesting. They all look to be the same length screw too, so that's alright. And it looks like this bezel can go up either way, so it doesn't matter which way you put it back on. I think I would have had to have taken it off anyway because it wasn't actually put on there straight, it was a bit crooked. And there's only one screw in going through the bottom. In fact, I don't need to take that out all the way to get the plastic bezel off. I'll take the screw out anyway just so I don't lose it. Like so, and I'll just make sure that you can actually put this on either way. So put it that way around. And it will fit perfectly that way around, and that way I can actually get parts of the damage at the bottom, so it doesn't look too bad. So I'll take this off and I'll put this bit to the side so I can lose it. Okay, so exactly what am I doing? Well, you may have noticed in the first shot of this video that I had a transformer sitting on the desk. Well, that was this transformer, which actually won't bend the case too much, and well, it just fits in there. That PCB is probably a little bit too high. I can always remove that PCB anyway, it's not really a great big issue. I got this power supply module that's been knocking about for the last year and a bit that Danishdart actually sent to me, and some capacitors, and I soldered them on. And I hadn't actually found a use for it yet. He sent it to me originally with the probably the hopes that I was going to use it for that Electro India 200 watt amplifier module, but I never did, and I'm not going to. But what I am going to use it for, it's not going to go to waste, is I'm going to actually put this in this case, and I'm going to make up a power supply in order to test power amplifiers. And I mean basically power amplifiers that I either build or design or find on the internet that require around, you know, plus minus 30 volts to plus minus 35 volts to operate. Now this transformer I've measured, it's a 44 volt with a center tap, and it came out of a Technics SA EH50 component hi-fi system thing that was not working. Transformer's fine. I put the current on the secondary that this can handle no more than probably 2 amps, so bring that forward. I'm going to most likely include fuse protection on the secondary of 2 amp fuses so we don't overdraw on the transformer, and also we won't run the risk of blowing the thermal fuse internal to this thing. I'm going to get rid of this power board that came with the transformer because I'm not going to use it, it's not necessary. So I'm going to leave this board on here, which is the AC input board, because that's got the voltage select already set to 240, and just run wires off this secondary board here. But that board does come real close to the inside top of the case, so I don't think there's anything actually up at this section, but yeah, it'd probably still fit without having to make any modifications. So that's my plan. Now I'm going to have to go out and get some stuff I don't have, like fuses and connectors. So that's the other thing, I've got to leave space for the connectors, so they're probably going to sit in the middle of the front, but over this side, away from the transformer, and I'll put a power switch on this side of the transformer. And I'll probably use one of my little AC adapter boards to connect the power switch to it and have an inline fuse. I'll steal the fuse that's on this board, that is the AC fuse, it's a 2 amp one, and we'll just go from there. So everything will fit in there. I'm probably going to redo this wiring, but I just want to make sure everything would fit. It does. So this is going to be a pretty simple project to build. It's not going to take me that much time to do it. It should only take me a day, really. Not sure if I'm really liking the fawn colour of the panels, but yeah. So yeah, I reckon that'll be fine. Shit. I do not see that as an issue. It just clears the lid. And so does the transformer. That was a real good guess on my part. It only looks like it's at an angle because, well, the front panel doesn't have the bezel on, and it's actually slightly shorter than the back is. So once the bezel is on, it'll be perfectly straight. No, that'll work perfectly. So all I have to do now is go out and get a list of parts. I need a red banana post, a black banana post, a green banana post, M205 fuse holders times 3, and 2 amp fast blow fuses times 2 because I've already got a third one. And that'll cost me about $18.75 from Jekar. So that'll be a bit cool. I also need to get a switch, so we'll say probably about 25 bucks. So I can't go any further with this at the moment. I mean, I could drill the holes for the power supply and transformer to go in, but I'd rather have all the components so I can start by drilling the front panel first, so that way I can, you know, make sure that the transformer's not going to interfere with anything, and the power supply, and then mount the stuff in the bottom of the cabinet. Anyway, in just a moment I am going to go to starting construction, which will be several hours later, maybe days even for me, but only a few seconds for you. I did actually just have a thought about these panel hardware things here, including the front bezel. I'm not sure I'm going to like a, you know, fawn coloured sort of complete unit. So you got like fawn lid, fawn front, fawn back, and the whole thing's just fawn coloured or off-white, whatever you want to call it. But I did think that because this panel, this plastic work has a little bit of damage on it, that I could slightly sand this back, hit it with some primer, and spray paint it black. And the same with the lid. So we have a black lid, a black bezel, with a fawn front and fawn back. So it's sort of like a two-tone look. I think that might actually look a lot better, and it will hide a lot of the blemishes and damage to this as well, because there's a chip in the back there as well. Not that you'd see it at the back, but yeah, I think I might do that. But once I've done it, I can't undo it. So yeah, there is that. That was not primer. Try it again with edge primer. There, and a short time later it's had 2 coats of flat black on top of the primer. It looks alright, but I'm going to have to let that sit overnight and set up before I handle it again. No, I did not spray paint it in here, I spray painted it outside. Let it air dry and then just brought it back in now. So I'll let that set up overnight, and in the meanwhile I get the components that I need to complete the front panel and back panel of the project, and we'll get to drilling the thing and mounting some stuff. Yay! Alright, it's the next day. It's a bit rainy outside, so it's kind of a perfect weather to be doing something constructive inside. However, it's a weekday and I've got to go to work later this afternoon. I've been out yesterday, I've got the necessary parts, $25 worth sitting here, to complete this build. Now, I've marked out my front panel ready to drill. I've got the power switch, the 3 output posts, and 2 LEDs. Now, the placement of these components shouldn't interfere with the transformer, but we'll soon find out. Although I'm pretty certain that I've got plenty of space to get this transformer, assuming it's mounted in the case somewhere, between everything, if you can see what I mean. Now, I've gone ahead and I've added some fly wires to the power supply, making it easier to connect up quickly. I did this like last night when I was relaxing, so I don't have to do it today. Just makes the wiring process a lot easier from a filming perspective. Now you'll notice I've got some fly wires now where the LEDs used to be. I'm going to mount them on the front in these two parts. There was a little bit of a problem though when I was removing the LEDs from the PCB here. One of the legs broke on it, and the second didn't work out of circuit after I unsoldered it. So both those LEDs are now completely useless. I did have a spare red 3mm 40 MCD LED knocking about for a couple of years that I'm going to use. I'm going to have to go out and buy another one for this one because I don't have a spare one. Blue LEDs are just way too bright and I don't want to mess around changing these dropper resistors. So this should work fine. I've already tested it on a power supply at 2 volts and it lights up. So I was mainly testing my color coordinated wires, so the blue is the cathode and the white is the anode. So that's wired the correct way around. So what I'm going to do now is get to center punching these holes ready for drilling. Oh, and one other thing, for applying power to the unit, I'm going to use this figure 8 socket which I got off of a old Sony Karaoke machine, which didn't actually work. Yeah, the only thing of this is it's not polarized, so the active or the neutral could be either way around. But for this application it doesn't really matter. I'm going to remove these wires and the heat shrink and repurpose the socket. However, I've got to cut a square hole which is 18.8 roughly by 11.5, which is going to be kind of annoying. Anyway, I'll cross that later. I'm going to do the back panel probably last in this instance. And I've also got to stop using my pliers as a hammer and stop being lazy and go downstairs and actually grab my hammer. But in this case, whatever works. Who'd have thought clamping stuff actually made things easier to work on? Funny that. Right, my holes are drilled. I've elongated, filed out these holes over here for the banana sockets, binding posts. So these LED holes are 4.5mm to accept the clips in there, so the LED will pass through without too much trouble. If anyone watched my build on the AEL 1503 0 to 15 volt power supply, which I use constantly, the trouble I had getting the bloody LEDs to pass through the clips through the PCB front panel was a challenge. So I've learned from that. So now I'm going to put some components in now. Someone left a comment on a video that I recently uploaded saying I need to speak slower. Well, I'm sorry, but that's kind of impossible for me to do. I speak at a particular speed that I speak at. I don't speak overly fast, I don't think. But I guess some people may think I do. But, you know, unfortunately I'm sorry, I can't help that. I speak at the speed I speak at, and this bloody lock nut came with the for the connection point with the main nut. I didn't want that to happen. So I put this one in here. So the only reason I elongated the holes is because it makes it easier when you're doing these nuts up, that it's not, you know, trying to turn around in its own hole, which can be thoroughly frustrating to make it stay where you want it to go. And I've never liked these black ones particular from Jaycar because they always seem to cross thread, and I don't know why. It's the black ones that do that. And that's about as far as it goes. I'll have to see if I can get a socket on there. And finally, the green one. It goes in there. Starting to look like something now. Well, it was always looking like something. So I'm going to get all the panel hardware on, and then I'm probably going to put the front bezel back on this so it's ready to marry up to the main supply, just so we can get an idea of where the transformer is going to mount in the bottom of the case. So let me get to finishing this off. I've just got to put this power switch in and the two LED clips and do some nuts up. Socket's just deep enough. Feels like that was stripping. Probably is. I ended up getting rid of these stupid spring washers because it was causing the nut, when it was getting to the extreme end of tightness, causing it to go squiff and cross thread. It actually chewed the positive binding post up a little bit on the thread. But I just took them off so I can bolt it right down hard, and I'll just put a bit of hot glue around each of them to stop them from unspinning. Yeah, okay. So here it is here. One front panel with the bezel back on. The bezel didn't turn out too bad actually, it looks kind of nice. I mean, apart from the paint runs here, but that's alright. So everything's in, power switch, etc. So now I can marry this up to the front panel. I hope I'm not boring you guys with too much construction information on this, because it's not like you guys are building it as well. But there we go. So that's where the top half of the, well, that's where the front's going to live. Power supply is going to live, well, I can't get it in there now, but towards this corner. So those leads are way too long. And I've removed the feed off the bottom so I could mess around with this. I just kind of need to know, with this transformer, where I'm going to put him. Oh, there's plenty of clearance, look at that. I don't know what I was complaining about. If I can even move the transformer as far forward as I need to. That's excellent. And that LED will pass through that hole there. In fact, I might just pull out these LED leads because I don't need them, they're just in the way anyway. Gonna rewire the grounds, I guess, for the transformer to these new ones. So now I know, I don't need the front sitting there anymore. Now I know where I need to mark out the back panel to pass my fuses through. So I'm going to mark the panel roughly there, so that's roughly in the center of that piece of tape is where there's enough clearance from the transformer itself, which could probably move over a bit. But I've got to leave clearance on this side for the socket and the fuse holder for the AC in, so that's going to live right on the edge. It's always nice to live on the edge. So where the edge of this tape is the maximum I can come in from. So that should work out fine. I'll put two fuses here. Two fuses here, and the AC inlet there, and the fuse holder up there. Cutting that square hole is going to be challenging, so I need to figure out how far. Right, that's 30 mil. So if I come in 20, I've got to leave 10 mil for the lip of the thing. Although I think 25 should be fine. I'll just move the transformer slightly over. So that's alright. And from this direction, about 75 is the maximum. So I'll make it 75 in from that side, and that should be fine to clear the transformer. Alright, let me get that marked out. Alright, all the holes are drilled. A bit rough, but that's alright. I've even drilled the holes for the PCB, which I should probably check to see if that actually fits. So, just try and get it to line up with the holes as best as I can, have a visual inspection. I did measure it, and yeah, it should fit. Okay, so I've cut out the square hole for the socket, and I've removed the heat shrink and crap off of the old wiring. And I should be able to just push this in like that. Isn't that a satisfying click? And it doesn't move around. So that's that part done. So I guess it's now time to put in some fuse holders, because I only have to draw 4 more holes in the bottom here for the transformer mounting, and that's basically it. And then I can put the thing together. So I'm going to temporarily screw the front panel on as well, and I'll just work out where things are going from there. Okay, the fuse holders are screwed in and the front panels are temporarily attached, so we can sort of see how this is going to come together. I'm going to put the transformer into the case, so that's going to give me a good idea of where it's going to go. And I might bring him as far forward as I can, so I'm clearing the back PCB here, and I can even manoeuvre this around a little bit further. So power supply module will sit in there next to that fuse holder, and it is very close, but just clears it to that connection point. That was a complete foul. I should have moved that forward, but that's alright. I can just bend these down and that'll clear the fuse holder just fine. It's not making contact with the screw terminal header here, so that's fine. It's just so you can see what I'm looking at, not you can see any better, but yeah. Luckily I put that fuse up at 30mm from the base, otherwise it would not have fitted in there. But it'll fit in there. Yeah, I made a mistake. Oh well. Oh well. Okay, so next would be to, well, I guess just mark where the transformer's going to go. I'm not really going to be fussed as to how straight it is. So I'm just going to eyeball it, and I'm going to get a Sharpie and I'm going to draw around the holes in the transformer base and then just drill them. That should work out perfectly fine. So I'll take all this back out, and then I can start the assembly process. I'm going to take the front panel back off now because I just wanted to see how it would look with the transformer in it and etc. But it doesn't need to be on there. Right, I've got the transformer bolted in. I've got the mains wiring wired from the socket to the fuse holder, insulated, and then to the power switch at the front. So now what I'm going to do with a continuity tester is to make sure that we have continuity from the socket through to the transformer. So I'm just going to probe across this socket here somehow with only one hand. Right, nothing there, so turn the switch on, see if that makes a difference. Yes, we have continuity with about 9.3 ohms. Excellent. So that is working. So the next task to do is to wire up the fuse holders for the secondary side, and I'm not going to heat shrink this because there's no point. It's only low voltage and low current, so that's the next thing I've got to do. But I've got to actually now burp and get ready for work, so I've got to go do that. And I've also got to do the output wires, and I also got to get another LED, so I'll do that whilst I'm out. So anyway, that's coming on quite nicely, and then of course screw the PCB in, which will live down here. Excellent. Check it out, it's all assembled. PCB is mounted, secondaries are wired, so are the outputs. Now I couldn't get another red LED, they didn't have any, so I got a green one. Same MCD 40. I think it'll look kind of interesting with a green LED instead of a red one there. Anyway, it's ready for testing. Ooh. Right, I'm going to do initial testing on the dim bulb just in case there's an electrical fault with the transformer now for some reason. It has fallen over as I've been working on it onto the transformer 3 times now. But anyway, right, turn the power on. hardly any inrush, and both LEDs are lit up. I think that looks nice. And with my hand over the top there to get out any ambient light, etc. Yeah, they're both lit up. This transformer doesn't even make a single ounce of hum noise. It's very, very quiet. Initial tests show that there's no smoke. Let's see what's coming out the front posts here. Right, negative lead is connected to the green connector, so positive. We have 28.8, nice. Negative, minus 28.8, close enough. Excellent. Right, let's do that test again, but off the dim bulb. Right, the thing's directly plugged in now, so I'll go to the positive post, turn it on. More like 30 volt there, negative post, minus 30 volt. Perfect. Very, very good. So, initial tests have proven that it's working. I'm not going to really load it with anything. I mean, I'll find out through the due course of time how well it works. Now I need to tidy up the wiring, like cable tie things, etc., and put the lid on. Done. Nice. Good night. And there it is together for the final time. I was going to hot glue some stuff inside, but I thought, there's no real need. Doesn't it look awesome? Anyway, that's how we can repurpose an old transformer. And yeah, that's going to help me test a few power amplifiers in the future. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to go down below, like, comment and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And this is the Astro 30 saying, as always, have a great day. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.